morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where in the world you're joining us from this morning. I want to welcome you to our Signal Management Solutions Company presentation. My name is Dave Haar. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Partner Sales. Today's webinar is a little bit different than ones conducted in the past, or at least that I've conducted in the past. We're really not going to focus on Kramer products, but rather we're going to focus on Kramer solutions and the different areas in which we play. We'll talk a little bit about how we go to market. We have a very interesting group of people who are logged on the line this morning. I would like to keep this as interactive as possible. And to do that, if you've got a question for me, the easiest thing is going to be for you to just jot it down in the chat section because I am by myself, so I don't have anybody monitoring the webinar. And we have, there should be over 60 people who are attending, and it looks like we're getting that number logged on. So I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to interact if they need to. My contact information is going to be at the end of the webinar, and also at the end of the webinar is a 5 or 6 question questionnaire or survey that we'd ask you to fill out on your way out so that you can give us feedback on today's session. And last but not least, I am recording it, so if you have colleagues or if you like what you see and you want to share it with colleagues and customers and/or partners and/or whoever, you will be able to get a copy of that from us later on. So without any further ado, I want to get started. As I said, my name is Dave Haar. I am the Vice President of Strategic Partner Sales here at Kramer, and I want to welcome you all to today's webinar talking about signal management and Kramer Electronics. For those of you who are not aware of who we are, we were founded in 1981. We've got 23 worldwide locations. Our headquarters our U.S. headquarters is in Clinton, New Jersey. The mission of Kramer is committed to developing creative, reliable, and value-oriented audio, video, and computer signal processing solutions and distributing them worldwide with an uncompromising level of service and support. From the first contact to the after-sales service and support, the door to Kramer is always open. Around the globe, we've got over 250 dedicated employees and 50 plus here in the United States. Just a little bit about how we go to market. Kramer is a manufacturing company. We sell our products to the distribution channel and to the dealer channel here in the United States. The distributors obviously sell to dealers, and then everybody sells to our end users, and there are quite a number of you out there on the line today, so I welcome you. And we really try to provide a pricing policy and a distribution policy to the marketplace that provides no channel conflict. And so our goal is to support our distributors, to support our dealers, and most importantly, to support our end users through our dealers and directly through us if we can. We are a signal management company. What does that mean? We provide connectivity and control behind the displays. So what that basically means is that we support the moving of signals. And if we look at the signal food chain and its challenges and its opportunities, we have products that provide connectivity to displays and connectivity to Pro AV devices really at every level. Both on the analog side of the fence and on the digital side of the fence. And one of the challenges that this presents is the fact that we've got over 1,500 products that run the gamut of switchers and DAs and scalers and twisted pair and native cable and scan converters and control systems and you name it, we've got a product for it. And obviously that makes it a little bit difficult on the part of our end user customers and as well as on the part of our dealer customers to determine which solution in fact is the right solution for us or for them and to solve your problems. As we move forward into the analog world, most of the signal processing products that we have will remain in our product line, but obviously some of those connections are going the way of digital. On the digital side, we have we look at the support and the types of products that we're going to be supporting, and we will continue to support the SD and HD and 3G SDI products. Moving forward, mostly in the Pro AV space, you'll see HDMI, DVI, and DisplayPort as the signals of choice. So getting back to these 1,600 products or 1,500 products, how do we break them up and bring them to you in a format that is understandable? And right now, our strongest tool is probably the Kramer Matrix, which is www.kramermatrix.com, or if you go up to the Kramer US website, which is www.kramerus.com, and you click on our product matrix, you'll see our products organized in 14 different categories, if you will. And today we're going to take a look at most of those 14 categories. We're not going to touch on all of them, but we will be touching on most of them. And again, I'm not talking about specific products today. What I'm talking about are where we fit in your solutions and how today you can really design a solution for your conference room, for your training room, for your house of worship, for your auditorium, for your hospitality environment, for your entertainment environment, for your retail environment, that starts and finishes with Kramer solutions. In the last 18 to 24 months, we really have transitioned ourselves from a company that has a box that does this and a box that does that to a company that can provide you with the solution for your Pro AV or your digital signage need. And so let's start to get into a little bit about our form factors. We have products pretty much in every category that you can mount into tables, that you can mount into racks, that you can put on your desktop, that you can mount into walls and floors, and that you can mount behind your screens. And so really an entire array of solutions that are going to fit into just about every environment that you may find yourself designing a solution for. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a whole lot of different types of customers on the line today. Some of our distribution partners are here, some of our integrator partners are here, some of our vendor partners are here, and quite a few of our end user partners are here. So I'm going to try and tailor this to all of you, which will be a little bit of a challenge on my part. But let's start off with one of our product categories that has been a very popular category both in the Pro AV space as well as in the digital signage space. And this is our distribution amplifiers. Now, what is a distribution amplifier? A distribution amplifier is going to send a signal from one source to many display devices. As shown in the diagram, you can see there in the middle of the page, we're taking a signal in, and then we're going out to multiple devices out in the environment in which the DA is found. Sometimes these devices include an extension, meaning that the screens can be located at a distance from the source. We have over 103 distribution amplifiers that move both analog and signals. Typically, the signal that's going into the DA is the same as the signal that's going out. So if I'm sending an HDMI signal in, I'm sending an HDMI signal out, or VGA in or VGA out. We use DAs in digital signage applications. We'll have a slide later on that as it goes into this application in a little bit more depth. But we go into educational institutions, we go into houses of worship, we go into corporate communication networks. And so many different uses for sending the same content to multiple display devices within an environment. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I'd like to keep this presentation as interactive as possible. So if anybody's got a question, please just jot it down in the chat box, and I will try and get to it as I see it, and/or I will get to it. At the end of today's presentation. So let me keep moving along here, and our next category that I want to talk about are what we call standard and matrix switches. Unlike DAs that take in one signal and send to many, a switch may take in many signals and send to one or more display devices. Like DA, signals coming in typically will be the same as signals going out. You can control what signals go where with either using RS-232, IP or IR devices. Where we're using our matrix switches or standard switches are in, again, a digital signage application, in the rental and staging market, in presentation rooms in both educational and corporate environments. We can use our with standard and matrix switches with our installer solutions in conference rooms and boardrooms. We use them in houses of worship and in courtrooms. How they work, basically, we can manipulate the signals any which way we want, as I said, through RS-232, IR, or control. So in our first example here, we've got computer on the top, or computer number 1, going to screens 1 and 2. Next example is we've got that signal going from computer number 1 to all 4 screens. Next, we threw computer 3 into screen number 2. Then we threw computer 3 into screen number 2 and 3. This is hard to say. Now we threw computer 4 into the mix, and we're now sending it out to display number 4. And again, now I've got each display going to its corresponding, or each player going to its corresponding display. And again, I'm going to use control to manipulate those signals any which way from Sunday in terms of our inputs and our outputs. I see a question right now, and that's a great question. How or which of these can communicate with K-Touch? We'll touch on K-Touch a little bit later on, but from our perspective, K-Touch can communicate with any of our switchers, any of our DAs, any of our products, basically, that have an IP native input, or they can go through the RS-232 or IR control when using one of our signal converters. And again, I have a slide on control systems a little bit later on, but that's basically the rule of thumb. K-Touch can communicate with anything that has an IP device or an IP control, and then obviously through RS-232 and IR with one of our adapters. Next product category we want to talk about is our presentation scalers. Our presentation and standalone scalers are another one of the large categories of revenue for Kramer. These have been our bread and butter. What they do is they take signals in from all types of different devices and then scale them to the native resolution of the display device in the room. They usually have multiple inputs, sometimes mixing both analog and digital, and 1 or 2 simultaneous outputs, with or without extension. The native resolution of the display is supported, so regardless of what we connect to, the images or what you're connecting to the switcher scaler, the images on the displays will always look good. Many of our newer presentation scalers, and again I'll mention a product here in terms of our 7.7 series, have the communication alert protocol built into them. This protocol enables network devices to receive weather emergencies, building emergencies, other emergency notifications instantaneously, overriding whatever is showing on the device from the network administration. All of our presentation scalers have EDID management built in where appropriate. Where do we use these scalers? Again, we use them in corporate conference rooms. We use them in university lecture halls. We use them in houses of worship, in hotel conference centers, in rental and staging venues, in auditoriums and conference halls. So these are really, really flexible for presentation of content where the content that's coming into the environment may be coming from more than one type of source. And examples of sources, DVD players, computers, communication, like Comcast or some other communication protocol coming from a TV station, either in DirecTV or through cable. And again, I can then scale the content to the output resolution of the display device, and again, I'm going to have one or more outputs with or without extension. So very, very versatile product, used in conjunction with some of our newer technology, as well as our bread and butter in, things like lecterns and things like that in classrooms and courtrooms. The range extenders move signals from a source over distance, either using fiber or copper cables. Range extenders can work on their own or be integrated into one of our other solutions, as I talked about just before, on our DAs as well as on our presentation scalers and switchers. And even our matrix switchers also have extension built in. Some of them have extension built into them. We can move signals up to 2,000 feet using over copper, and significantly longer using our fiber solutions. Many times our extenders will move more than one type of signal, combining video with audio, and RS-232, or just audio, or just video, or any combination of the above. As you can see here in the diagram at the right, we're sending HDMI, RS-232, and IP signals to our receivers in this digital environment. In the diagram at the lower right, you'll see our active technology and wall plate environments. And again, where do we use range extenders? We use range extenders in digital signage. We use range extenders in boardrooms and conference rooms, classrooms, lecture halls, auditoriums. We use them in houses of worship. We use them in home theater. And again, very, very important piece of our puzzle in terms of providing overall solutions to our customers or to our end users in many, many different types of environments. I want to touch base for just a second on HD-base-T and the importance of using shielded Cat6 cable in any environment where you are extending digital signals more than 30 feet. And the reason that is that digital signals are very susceptible to interference behind the walls, and we don't really know what's there until, obviously, our end-user customers or our dealer-installer customers get behind the walls to see what's going on. But it's very, very, very important that we all use shielded Cat6 cable in a digital environment. We'll touch again on this in a few slides when we talk about best practices, but suffice it, analog signals are much more forgiving as it regards to the interference or the distance that they can go. Digital signals are much more sensitive to the noise in the environment, and as a result, you'll get some interesting results if you don't use a shielded Cat6 cable. So we want to really just make sure that we pound home that particular question. And I have a question out here that says, that asks, are analog signals not shared to both outputs on matrix switchers? Is that correct? If we're talking about a matrix switch, again, most of the time, a matrix switch is the same input going to the same output. So in that case, the answer would be on a matrix switch, if it's an analog switch to begin with, or it's VGA to begin with, it will be on the output. In our switchers and scalers, it becomes a little bit more problematic depending upon which solution you choose, because some of our solutions have both analog and digital outputs. So it really depends upon the model. It really depends upon what you need to connect it to on the receiver side. And so in those cases, what I typically suggest to customers on the dealer side or on the end user side is to contact our tech support group and have them work through the solution with you in terms of exactly what it is that you're trying to connect in exactly what environment that you're in, because obviously the answer is really going to depend upon the environment that you're in. Later on in the presentation, I do have resources available for you to go to, both from a dealer perspective or a distributor perspective or an end user perspective, to get answers to your questions. So that's a great question. Thank you very, very much. Installer solutions. We spend a good deal of our time talking about installer solutions because the products that we have provide signal management in tables, in walls, in ceilings, and in floors, and systems that are both active and passive. For instance, we have an entirely new line of speaker and audio processing solutions. And I don't go into the audio section in this presentation. You'll see that I'm doing room connectivity and cables and connectors here. I don't go into our special audio, though I really should, because it is in a class all by itself. And for those of you who are not familiar with Kramer's audio history, in the early days, and I'm talking about 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, we OEM'd a bunch of our audio products from other manufacturers. Today, 90%, 95% of our products are 100% homegrown. We've added an entire audio engineering team to our team in Israel, both in the product development side as well as on the R&D side. And we've got a full line of both powered and non-powered wall speakers, invisible speakers, speakers in the ceilings, a whole mess of different solutions for you to use when providing audio to your customers or to your clientele. One other feature that's relatively unique to Kramer is our cables and connectors, and we really have pretty much anything that you can think of for your customers or your AV needs, including our patented K-Lock HDMI cables. These are HDMI cables that require at least 15 to 20 pounds of pressure to remove them from their connected device. The K-Lock is pretty much on all of our HDMI solutions, so our flat cables, our cables with Ethernet, our flexible cables all have K-Lock, and it really provides, from an installation perspective, a secure connection so that you really don't need to worry about the cables being knocked out or the cables being pulled out, inadvertently in different environments. And again, where are we using installer solutions? We're using them in boardrooms, in conference rooms, in classrooms, training facilities, lecterns, hotels, restaurants, many, many, many different environments that are taking advantage of our installer solutions, including the sound, the in-conference room and table solutions, in combination, again, with some of our other product lines to provide you with, or your customers with, a total solution. Control systems. Control systems, we operate in control devices such as projectors, displays, switchers, routers, DVD players, direct TV boxes, cable TV boxes. We streamline operations and simplify control by integrating audio, video, and computer video sources into centralized systems. K-Touch 3.0 is a new product. Well, it's actually an older product that we revitalized and reintroduced at InfoComm 2015. And it is part of our complete control systems and offer advanced controls at your fingertips. I could do a whole webinar on K-Touch 3.0 because it is such a revolutionary concept when you think about control systems. The primary difference between it and our major competitors is the fact that we don't require in the classroom or in the environment to have a processor that you are programming. All of the programming happens in the cloud. Licenses are sold to our dealers and to our end users based upon the control device that they're using. And so the control device could be an Apple iPad, it could be an iPhone, it could be an Android tablet, it could be an Android phone. And in those environments, you can use K-Touch to, you program in the cloud and you get access by the license to the cloud platform. and then you do all of your design work in the cloud, and when you're done, you then just sync up with the display device or the control device that you're using in your particular environment. And we sell the K-Touch in the licenses in 3 different formats. We sell them in a 1x5, meaning I have one access point that's going to control up to 5 devices, a 1x15 environment, or a 1x50 environment. And then you can add on access points, or you can add on licenses in groups of 5 as you so need, depending upon your environment. For the dealers and distributors that are on the line, in order to sell K-Touch to your end users, we need you to go through a certification process. That certification process is an online course that you can work with any of your regional sales managers to get set up for yourself, or you can work with Tom and I, or really any of the management team to get you set up in taking the K-Touch course. And again, where our control systems are being used, they're really being used wherever our products are being used, or wherever our customers are designing solutions. So again, boardrooms, conference rooms, classrooms, training facilities, lecterns, hotels, restaurants, other types of environments. We've got K-Touch controlling some of our matrix switchers in places like the NASCAR race circuit. We've got, again, schools, universities that are using K-Touch in their classrooms. So, question that we've got out there about our drivers, are they preloaded? Again, because of our environment where all of the programming happens in the cloud, it's an open environment as far as drivers are concerned, and so we have a driver library that is growing pretty much exponentially on a daily and weekly basis as more and more people take advantage of K-Touch and the benefits that it offers both to the end user community as well as to the reseller community. So the answer to your question is if you have to, the programming is really not what you are used to in your traditional RS-232 programming. Most of the application, at least with K-Touch, is a drag and drop type of an environment where you are defining what you want a button to do, and that button may be, turning something on, turning something off, increasing volume, decreasing volume. And again, if the driver is available, it is automatically or preloaded into the project and the button as you define it. If the driver is not available, it's a simple phone call to Kramer, and typically within 48 hours to 72 hours, we will provide the driver for you up to the driver library. And again, the programming is really just drag and dropping. So that's another great question. Any other questions on our control systems? I have a question that from somebody out there that asks if we have audio cables that change format, balanced to unbalanced, for example. And that's actually a question that stumped me. I'm not sure of the answer to that question. I know that if you go up to our audio section, there are a bunch of, there's a bunch of different information up there, and certainly at the end of the presentation, I can give you, I'll give you our technical support line, and that would be a question really for our tech support department. I apologize, that's not a question that I'm familiar with, or an answer that I'm familiar with. So I'm going to keep moving on, and again, everything is being recorded, so so we'll be able to get back to you later on if we don't get through. Let me keep moving here because I'm trying to keep this into 45 minutes, and I've got a number of slides left. So, collaboration solutions. This is a new product for Kramer. It is the result of acquiring a company and coming out, introducing again in 2014 at Infocom. We started shipping our VIA presentation products in the fall of last year. We introduced some significant new features to the product family based mostly upon our customer feedback at Infocom in 2015. And so Basically, VIA is a wireless presentation and collaboration solution that makes it easier to actually get work done in meetings. With any laptop, mobile device, you can view, edit, comment on documents in real time. You can share files and chat with individuals or multiple participants simultaneously. We are very different from our competition. Most of the competition that's out there in the marketplace today, whether it's coming from companies like Crestron or Extron or We Present or Mersive or Steelcase or Christie, these solutions for the most part are presentation systems where they're allowing multiple people to present wirelessly in an environment. The difference is that the VIA adds to the solution a collaborative aspect. And I'm actually going to diverse here and break my rule about not talking about products and actually talk about VIA on my next slide. But where we're doing this and where we're selling VIA, typically places where people work. Conference rooms, huddle spaces, classrooms, student centers, auditoriums, houses of worship, hospitality venues, healthcare facilities, attorneys' offices, financial institutions, places where people want to get work done in a collaborative mode. And so I'm going to talk about one product. I'm going to break my rule here and talk about one product, and that product is going to be VIA. VIA's value proposition is that we can work on and edit common documents together, meaning I can have, this PowerPoint presentation up on the slide, and if I was working with my marketing department and maybe my tech support department, we could work together on this document. We can annotate, we can put whiteboard, we can file share, we can mirror, do iOS mirroring or any other type of mobile device mirroring. We can view main display. We've got storage capabilities. I can connect faster. I can present faster, and I give the group that is using the VIA product faster access to information. The top 5 features, if we look at it, is that we're presenting and we're collaborating in one wireless community. Both products, and there are 2 products in the product family, the VIA Connect Pro and the VIA Collage, have a simple, intuitive user interface requiring very, very little training. Both products, and this is very, very important to the end user community, this is very, very important to the IT departments in colleges, universities, corporations, and that is that the VIA products have advanced 1024-bit encryption security on the content that's going across and through the wireless network, on the content that goes from the wireless device to the VIA itself. And none of our competitors have got this level of encryption. None of them have this level of security. One of the other really interesting features is that I can customize the feature set on the VIA Connect Pro and on the VIA Collage. So depending upon the environment that I'm in, I don't have to have one size fits all. I can customize the feature set. So for instance, in a college lectern or college lecture hall, I might want to disable the chat feature because I really don't want the students chatting among themselves. I want them paying attention to what I'm doing in the front of the room. And that's just one of many, many examples of customizing the feature set on the particular products. Also, both products support full iOS mirroring, and again, both products support 1080p, 60 frames per second video streaming through the device. I have a question about connecting with Chromebooks. Chrome is one of the very few operating systems that we do not support. I know that it's on the roadmap. I don't know exactly when the Chrome support will come out. So the answer to your question is we don't yet connect with Chromebooks, and I don't really have a firm date in terms of when that feature or when that support will be available. But I do know that it is on the roadmap and we are working on it. In digital signage, we supply a number of solutions, including extension and distribution products. We also provide a simple media player for standalone applications that comes with a content management piece of software that allows for portrait or landscape orientation of your screen, different zones to be set up in playlists that are either in a continuous loop or a 7-day schedule of content. I don't want to propose that our digital signage player is by any means a powerful system. It is a simple system. I'm not going to use this on any types of massive deployment, but again, if I've got a customer or you're a customer that wants to put a single screen in your, in your break room, you want to put something behind your reception desk and maybe a couple of other screens around the facility, our media player might be something that you want to take a look at. Otherwise, we have partnerships with a number of different content management software companies that are out there that I would strongly suggest that you use rather than using our own solution. So that being said, we also provide solutions that allow network owners and operators to stream content across their network. We have over 450,000 screens today that are deployed with our solutions connected to those screens in every environment and application that you can think of. I have a slide a little bit later on when we talk about best practices. Actually, I think it might be the next slide where we talk about best practices and when you should use our different solutions. But suffice it to say, we're in retail, we're in entertainment, we're in hospitality, we're in sporting arenas, transportation centers, banking and financial institutions, medical facilities, educational institutions, and much, 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 much more. Going back to VIA, we've got two other questions. So let me just go back to that slide for a second. One of the questions is, when is the connection puck going to be available? So for those of you who saw the VIA at Infocom, or for those of you who are maybe have seen some of our presentation, we do have something coming out called the VIA Launchpad. It will come out sometime in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure whether or not that will be early or mid or late fourth quarter, but it will certainly be out this year. It is not something that is required to operate the VIA. It is a very convenient accessory. And again, if you need more information on that, I have a website a little bit later on that you can go to that's called truecollaboration.com, and that's TRU-collaboration.com, which really goes into a tremendous amount of depth on the VIA product. And then the next question is, with VIA, Kramer, only people in the room can step in. Will it be available in the future so that you don't have to be in the room but log in from a different location? Today, the VIA Collage supports third-party applications like Skype and GoToMeeting and Link across networks. So actually, people who are not in the room can, in fact, participate and share their screen. So the answer to your question is we can do that today. And obviously, I'm running the application in the room on the VIA, and so these people are connecting as if they were in a GoToMeeting or in a WebEx, where even in today's presentation, for instance, I could give control of my screen to somebody else who is participating. And so that is possible today using the VIA Collage. Great questions, guys. Really appreciate the interaction here. So we talked about digital solutions. Let's just talk a little bit about best practices. HT-based we talked about before in terms of shielded Cat6 cable for the best performance. Most manufacturers really can't certify more than 35 feet if you use unshielded cable or you use Cat5 types of cables in digital environments. And it really is because digital signals are so much more sensitive to interference. And actually, there's one of my slides coming up. We'll talk a little bit about why and where and how you can identify problems with unshielded or other types of cables in digital environments. Collaboration, again, the best practice, again, when you're talking about a collaboration system, we really need to make sure that you're defining collaboration in a way in which people are actually being able to work on a file simultaneously, work on a project simultaneously, and get the work done. And what we do in our environment, and again, I can talk for an hour on VIA, and I don't really want to do that, but what we can do in our environment is we can allow people to get a project done together rather than having somebody present something and then, yeah, we can work on it, we can make some notes, we can say, let's use this picture instead of that picture, and then the person goes out of the room, recreates that project based upon the feedback that he got in the room, and then, and then comes back and says, how does this look? Whereas in our environment, we can all work on that project. We can take files and transfer the files as we need to the person who's building the project, and they can, create it and collaborate on it in the room. In best practices in terms of control, we feel that our K-Touch 3.0 has really taken the control environment and stepped it up and really gone to the next generation where you don't need expensive on-site equipment, you don't need expensive on-site service calls to change the programming of a particular device because something in the room changed. With K-Touch, you can do this programming either as the end user or as the dealer, integrator, or as the distributor. Any of you guys can do depending upon how you set up the business model, you can set up your system and you can do all of the programming in the cloud and then just sync down with your customers. So really, we feel like we've taken the paradigm and we've given it a big shift with our 3.0 product. Digital signage. Customers, you have two choices when you're designing your network. The first is to place the player at the screen or in the screen, and the second is to place the player someplace else. 50 to 60 to 70% of the time, the player at the screen is going to be appropriate. However, in our experience with our 450,000 plus screens, we found that there are three environments where using our extension and distribution equipment will absolutely save you and your customers money in both your capital expense cost and your operation costs. The three scenarios are whenever you send the same content to multiple screens. Why? Because the receivers cost less than the players, typically, and because paying for one player license is so much cheaper than paying for many player licenses. Scenario two is whenever you're placing screens in environments where reaching them during the day is difficult or reaching them is going to disrupt your core business. Examples of this are checkout lines at retails, QSR restaurants, shopping malls, lines at amusement parks, etc. And again, the reason being that I don't want to disrupt my business, and yet if I'm looking up there at the blue screen of death or I'm looking at a black screen and I need to do something with that player, if my player is located in a secure, safe, accessible environment, I'm going to have a much better chance of servicing it in a quicker amount of time, minimizing my downtime, and being able to get my system up and running more quickly. The last scenario is whenever you're putting screens in places that are unfriendly to electronics, i.e. outdoors, train and subway stations, quick servers, fryer grease, manufacturing plants, places where putting the player there is going to lower the mean time between failure of that player and again also provide for easier access. So bottom line is, placing players in a secure, safe, accessible, environmentally friendly location is going to save you or your customers time and money in both the capital expenditures and the operational expenses. In many cases, from an installation perspective, you can use the same Cat6 cable that you would use to get the content from your source to your screen if your player was located behind the screen, and you can use that same Cat6 cable, and so it really is going to not necessarily increase your distribution costs. I know I'm running a little bit over here, guys, but I'm almost done. Just really some resources that are available. We have some online configurators that you can get to through the website. I'm going to show you the website in just a second. We also have a whole mess of online videos that are available through the website and our YouTube channel. You've got both technical support videos as well as some marketing videos. People resources, we've got 4 regional managers or 5 regional managers that cover our country, and then we've got a number of different technical support for product questions and technical support people, as well as configuration questions, and then, a full service organization and marketing to support pretty much every aspect of your business. The Kramer Matrix is our, as I said before, is our online catalog, for the lack of a better term. If we look at the Kramer Matrix, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here because I just clicked the button, but if we look at our Kramer Matrix, online, you'll see the 14 different categories. If we go up under products, you'll see here is where I can get to the matrix. I can get to, hold on a minute, I can get to what's new, what's discontinued. The configurators are located up here. If we go into our news section, you can see our case studies, so if you want to look at some of our different products. If you go out and you look at the support, you'll see that there's literature available. So if you're a dealer out there and you'd like to order some literature, you can do that here, as well as look at other different aspects of our support. If you go into any product, you can, like if we go into DAs, you'll see that there's 88 different DAs. If you want to look under a product search and you want to look at our HT-based tea products, you can type it in just as HT-based tea, and it'll give you a list of all of the different products organized by their group. So switchers and routers, range extenders, etc. If you go into any one of the products, let's go into this 580T here for a second. All of the product pages are pretty much the same, where they give you a picture of the product that you can zoom in on. They give you the specifications of the product. They give you an operational diagram of the product. And then they'll talk about related products. So in this particular case, we're talking about a transmitter. Here are the compatible receivers. And then they're going to go into the suggested cables. So in this particular case, it's an HT-based T product, as well as an audio product, as well as using our Cat6 extension product. So again, all of the product pages are pretty much the same in terms of their functionality. Really, we feel it's a very, very powerful tool. So let me get rid of that, and let's just, I think I'm going to finish up here with our next slide that just really just says thank you for participating in today's presentation. Here is some of the contact information of some of the key folks that are on our management team. Ken Corthorne is our VP of Sales. Tom McCarthy is Senior VP of Strategic Partner Sales. Mike Lewis, VP of Installer Solutions, and myself, Dave Haar, the Vice President of Strategic Partner Sales. Again, I want to thank everybody for their time and attention today. Hopefully you found this overview worthwhile. As I did mention, it's being recorded so that you can expose other colleagues or other customers to this opportunity should you want to do that. We will also be doing this presentation live again next Monday. So if you'd like to sign up for that or have folks sign up for that, we will be doing it live again on Monday, the 31st of August. Again, thank you for your time. We really do ask that you fill out the survey, the 5-question survey, as you're exiting so that we can get feedback. And again, I want to thank you all for your time and attention. One more question. Clarify if K-Touch allows remote programming of an iPad. The answer to that question is the programming occurs up in the cloud, but you're programming the actual device. There is a service utility that does allow you to see what's on the iPad remotely. So as long as the iPad is connected to a wireless network, you have access to that wireless network from outside of the organization, you can in fact see it. But the programming is done up in the cloud, and then the device you sync with the device in the environment that the controllers have. So again, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your day and a great week. Look forward to seeing you on future webinars. Have a great day.